Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I'm watching the Military Bowl. Tulane just gave a touchdown. They're down 17-10. The picture I have up today is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which has slots in the top for Pop-Tarts. Yes, for Pop-Tarts at the top. How awesome is that? Josh, how awesome is that? How awesome is that, Josh? That's awesome. Well, Josh is not entered. Well, Josh, it says someone's here right now. But I don't. Oh, yeah, there. Good afternoon. Rob's on YouTube. I'm waiting for Josh. Josh must be busy right now. And we have all right, we're just going to keep on rocking and rolling today. And I am very excited. Arbitrary Analytics. It's on Instagram. It's Arbitrary Graphics. This guy does. Oh, he's at work. I know you're at work. He's a guy I found, talks a lot about. Hey, good afternoon there, Josh. All about Nebraska football. He does all these analytics and everything, and I found him online. We talked a while back, and I sent him a DM on Twitter, a message on Twitter saying, I'd love to have you on. He says, I've never done one before, so there's a lot of research I want to do. I said, dude, you do as much goddamn research as you want. Hopefully he'll be on next week, if not next couple weeks, because they got that kid, Dylan. I saw Raiola. I saw all these different ways they pronounce his name, and I was like, okay. Raiola, his uncle's offensive line coach. His father played in Nebraska. They were trying to get him. Matt Rule, year 3. Didn't they qualified? They did make a bowl game this year for the first time, but they haven't played yet. Wait, is Nebraska? Yeah, when is Nebraska playing their bowl game? I just thought about that. Nebraska. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, I got to look that up. Nebraska. I know that they qualified, right? Did they? Oh, maybe they didn't. Did they lose at the end? Yeah, they didn't. They did not qualify for a bowl game. Nebraska is not. Nebraska lost to Iowa, and they did not qualify for a bowl game. Yeah, there is no bowl game. Yes. They did not make a. Yeah, they finished where they finished 5-7 on the year, but things are looking up for next season. Yeah, 5-7 did not qualify, and they are done for the year. Yeah, they lost to Iowa. I remember that. They lost 13-10 on the last second field goal. Because I was thinking, wait a minute, they're playing a bowl game, but so many teams are playing. Pop-Tarts is tomorrow. It is NC State. I just want to make sure I get the teams right. It is the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Tomorrow is North Carolina State versus Shice. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to keep my swear words down because I want to give a shout out to Gumbo Chef's son. A-Man. It's North Carolina State versus K-State tomorrow. Gumbo Chef sends me videos of his son loves rock climbing. A-Man loves rock climbing. Sends me 5 videos of his son trying to climb up this sidewall. It wasn't that high, but there was a contraption in the middle. You had to grab on to pull up to get up. And it was like, when you rock climb, you really got to get in the grooves and you got to get up and you got to hold on to stuff. And it was really a contraption like this. It almost looked like a metal box that he had to grab on. And one time didn't happen. 2 times didn't happen. 3 times, 4. 5th time he gets up. I sent him a video right away. I said, you know what? I am so proud of you. You know, the whole thing in life you want to build is patience. And I don't like the word quit. That you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have bumps in the road. And I want you to get back up and do what you got to do. I mean, I really respect that. I was very proud of him. I said, you can accomplish anything you want in life. You have to realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. And, I said I was going to give him a shout out today. And we went to Lanker's house and, his wife tested positive for COVID yesterday. I feel fine. So does Michigan. But we're both like, let's go to my parents this weekend. Bill and Harris want to hang out this weekend. And I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm just chilling here. UNC plays in the Duke Mayo's Bowl right after this. The night bowl game is what? Oklahoma State. But I think there's another bowl today. Is there more bowl games today? I thought I saw somewhere that there is bowl games. I thought there was. Is tonight that one with the guy I can't stand from Barstool Sports? Is that tonight? Is Barstool's on tonight? Yeah. What I don't know what you're talking about with the the Barstool Arizona Bowl game is tonight? Oh, 3 days. I thought somewhere that I saw, I don't know what you're talking about, Rob. What about the Pop-Tarts Bowl? That's tomorrow. But tonight is I believe that's the first bowl game between two ranked teams this year, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Oh, is it? You know, that's a good point, right? NC State, and, you know, they might have a good point right there. NC State and K-State, yes, because Tulane is definitely ranked. I think Tulane-Va-Tech is not a great matchup for Tulane. And actually, I saw a stat that I just saw while I was watching this game that of the college, this is pretty crazy, the most wins in the last two seasons, Georgia 27, Michigan 26, Washington 24, Tulane 23. Yes. Yeah. There's no Rob, there is a dearth of them, not a plethora, a dearth of them outside. Yeah, there's a lot of shitty games. A lot of shitty games. That might be one of the first, because Friday night, I know we got the Cotton Bowl, where Ohio State is 10-1-1 all time against Missouri. And then last night I was watching the Arizona, I don't know, the Arizona with the bowl last night between Kansas. Kansas's quarterback threw for 6 goddamn touchdowns last night. 6. I think they beat UNLV, which had a very good season, was going for their 10th win of the season, if I'm correct. Kansas football, they were playing last night. They won last night of course, it's not listed here. They beat UNLV. They finished 9-4. UNLV fell to 9-5 in the Kansas Guaranteed Rate Bowl last night. They won 49-36. First half, it was 21-10 at the half. In the second half, goddamn, UNLV scored 26, but the Jayhawks scored 21 in the fourth to pull away. And Kansas, a lot of turnovers in the first half. Second half, they came on and got it done, man. That was they said Jason Bean rewrote the football legacy with his historic 6 touchdowns, man. And 2 guys caught 3 touchdown passes, topping 5 last year. So 3 to 2 different receivers yesterday, so I watched the end of that game. But the thing that stood out to me was that yesterday Kansas had 16. I gotta get this right. Yeah, what's up there? What's up there, Joe Willie? What's up, Joe Willie? What stood out to me yesterday was 18 penalties for 210 yards. 18 for 210, and I was like, wait a minute. I remember when Miami played in the Cotton Bowl, and they had like all these unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That was the year they lost early in the season to BYU. They lost to Notre Dame. They'd come off a national championship. It was Dennis Erickson's last game coaching the team. 49-3 over Texas. And it probably could have been even more. I remember, what was it? Rod Hill ran one out and went up into ran the touchdown and kept going, and everybody's going crazy and everything. And that year in 91, they had 16 for 202. The president of the school was furious with all the stuff that went on during the game. They were that good that they still won 49-3 that game. But 18 yesterday, which I guess they were talking about the officiating. Yeah. No, I didn't want Joe's, my buddy Bumble says he wished that the Pistons had pulled out. They're not a good team, dude. They're not a good team. No. And Kate Cunningham had 41 last night. I am rooting for them to keep losing. I am just, it makes me so happy to see them keep losing. It really does. I really don't want them to win. I don't. And this is another thing. You got Pops and Monty Williams making $30 million. $30 million this season. And their 2 teams combined are, let me get that right, they're 6-53. Bumble, 6-53. That is ugly. Ugly. How about Russ? Rob sent me this. How about Russell Wilson? How about this? 2 years, $124 million. He came in with $51 million. Rob sent me that tweet from Albert Breer. Plus $73 million added. If they cut him or release him, $85 million they still owe him. And they're benching him for Jarrett Stidham. You know why? Not because of play. Because God forbid he gets hurt In March 2024, $37 million is guaranteed for 2025, and it's a money decision. So can you imagine they're 7-8, still have a shot at the playoffs? I mean, I went through all this stuff. It gives me a headache. But basically, they're telling the fans, you know what? We're afraid. We don't want to have to keep paying him. We're more concerned about money than winning games. If you're telling me Jarrett Stidham is going to do a better job right now than Russell Wilson, well, hey, listen, they lost the goddamn game to the Pats last week, so who knows what the hell could happen. But, wow. Aaron asked me, and Aaron said, if I was a fan, I'd be freaking furious with this shit. And I totally agree. Totally agree on that front. Totally agree. I mean, I can't believe with 2 games left, they're going to sit him because they're afraid if he gets injured, they're going to have to pay all this money to him. Well, it just goes to show that you shouldn't give 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 3 veterans, and a bunch of other shit for him and the other guy a guy who's had 11 tackles this season and no sacks. And the only guy that really Seattle's got out of it is that kid Witherspoon, who has been really good for them. So I guess we're going to see what happens. But, I mean, going forward, I mean, really, it's been a total shit show for both teams. Hasn't really led to anything. And now they're going to bench him, which means they're probably going to cut him. And I'm really shocked that he's saying I'm giving up on the season, Sean Payton. I can't believe he's saying, okay, it's in our best interest to sit him. Now, I don't think Stidham is a bad quarterback, but is he enough to lead them to wins and everything? I stand perplexed. I stand very perplexed on that front. I can't believe, Aaron, Josh, Rob, and I had a going on, and I was going to go through everything. I wanted to go through everything, but I was like, I can't. I was like, it's so much information there that I said I should have just started recording the show while we were doing that. Like when I was with Aaron on Christmas Eve, his dad was there, Steven was there. I got the JD Talkin Sports behind me, and we had a bunch of people talking, and we have Caitlin, Aaron's sister. I mean, it was great. I should have just started the recording and gone for there. It would have been awesome because we were talking about a lot of great stuff. Connor Harrell's going to get his first start, the redshirt freshman for UNC today, 71 yards, a touchdown in 4 games. They are 1-1 against each other. I forgot they played 2008 in the Meineke Car Bowl that is now the Duke's Mayo. They showed some guy sucking down mayonnaise in the parking lot, I guess, the tailgating for the game. Dude, no, never. No. Hell no. I'm not sucking down mayonnaise. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. Gross. Just totally gross. And UNC and West Virginia met in 97 at the Gator Bowl. They went 2013, so this is their 3rd matchup all time. Now, Rob was talking to me, and I don't know what Bumbles feel. Well, as a football fan, because I was asking the guys, who was your, they were asking me who my favorite Jet quarterback was. And I was like, I got to be honest with you. I was never really a Jet fan until the Cowboys, Jerry Jones ruined everything with Jimmy Johnson. Now, I watch quarterbacks, but this would be something I would ask Jay who his favorite quarterback was, and Bumbles, because Bumbles has been following the team and Jay forever. But I'm thinking, Ken O'Brien. I had season tickets to Brownie Nagel. They had Boomer. And who's the quarterback who was on the Steelers, who went to Super Bowl against Cowboys? He came over for a couple seasons. He was from Madison, New Jersey. I see his face. Ben, I can't remember his name. Do you guys remember who was I could just, I could probably Google the Jets quarterbacks. That would be Jets quarterbacks all time. And the list goes on and on and on of Jets quarterbacks, of insignificant ones. And that's why I know Bumbles is at work, so he can't answer he can't answer this, but I was kind of curious who Jay and Neil O'Donnell. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. The list goes on and on. Chad Pennington. Yeah. I did see Chad Pennington 41-0 playoff game against the Colts one time. I saw that. Sanchez, I saw. Testaverde with the Achilles. Brett Favre. What were they? 9-2 and they fell 8-2. Remember they beat Seattle. Kellen Clemens had a couple good games. Fitz. That year they didn't make the playoffs. Geno Smith, Joe Flacco, Josh McCown, Ken O'Brien, Richard Todd. Yeah, the game against Miami. Rick Myrer. Yeah, he was. Wait. This is not. These are all Jets quarterbacks. Wait. Frank Reich was a. Yeah, this is Neil O'Donnell, Tim Tebow, Michael Vick. Yeah, I guess Quincy Carter I remember. But I remember Frank Reich and Rick Myrer being a Jet. If that was, they were Glenn Foley. Remember he had that great game against the Niners on a Sunday afternoon. Josh Johnson, Jay Fiedler. Yeah, Jay Fiedler. Go, a member of the tribe. Jeff Blake, I used to love him. Matt Sims, he kind of Cliff Kingsbury, Tony Eason. Wow, these are guys. Brooks Bollinger. I remember Bobby Brister. Ray Lucas. He said he should have gotten to him earlier. Parcells. Jack Trudeau, remember, from Illinois. Mark Malone, Pat Ryan. God, these names all. And then after that, it's all way before my time. Oh, Patrick Ramsey, I remember him. Tom Tupa from the Ohio State. But I was just going through all these guys. I was like, so we had a very interesting, heated conversation. Not heated, but in a good way. And Rob brought up, why is Tiki not in? Well, you know what? He brings up a good point. And I don't understand. I always felt he was an arrogant prick. He was also, with getting out, he was 31. Well, he retired 31. And, he was going to NBC. He kind of had that Kyrie thing. He thought he was smarter than all of us and he was going to become like a real reporter. And that all fell back in his face. And listen, the marriage, whatever, I've heard differing stories, his wife and everything. That was not a good situation. He's still with the woman he was caught having an affair with on his wife. And he's one of 3 players. Well, he's one of 29 to pass 10,000. He's one of 3 with 10,000 yards rushing and 5,000 receiving. The others are, well, that's a good trivia question for a future show because I looked it up. I was kind of impressed with that. But look at this. Think about his last 5 years, Tiki Barber. 1387, 11 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry, 5 fumbles. He lost. Next, then he had 1216, 2 touchdowns, 4.4, 5 fumbles lost. Then 1518, 13 touchdowns, 4.7, 2 fumbles lost. His last 2 years, 1860, 9 touchdowns, 5.2, 1 fumble loss. And then he had 1682, 5 touchdowns, 5.1 a touchdown. His last 2 years, the guys don't do that in a goddamn career. I mean, that last 5 years, whereas Terrell Davis had 4 great years and then 3 really crappy years and injured. And he had, I looked him up and I was like, okay, well, you know what? He had those 4 great years. He had 2,000 yards in that time. Yeah, I have those numbers somewhere. And I was all over the place with all my notes. I was like, oh, because I looked up Terrell Davis too after he told me about that. And I was like, where's Terrell Davis's notes? Stats. So he ends up having 10,449 yards rushing and 5,183 receiving, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, and I was like, those are. But so really, Davis had those 2 good years, and I felt that if John Elway had not had him, he wasn't winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, one of his, what did he say? What was Rob defending his one of TD years was around 1,100 yards. What does it matter, Rob? It's 1,000 yards. Dude, it's still 1,000. I know. And then Rob gave me this breakdown that back when it was 1,000 yards, it was 14 games, which I think is really, and back then it was 72 yards a game. So today that would average out to 12, 14 for 17 games. And the only guy who's passed that threshold is CMC, McCaffrey with 1,395. Kyron Williams right now is 157 yards behind. Cook has over 1,038. He's within under 200 yards of getting there. Then Mostert has 1,012. He's 202 yards behind. I don't think he's going to get there. Swift is under 988. Derrick Henry 972. Montgomery 910. Pollard 886. And then Saquon's at 877. And Breece Hall 732. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean as much. I mean, you're not putting up great yardage. 1,000 yards, I guess, doesn't mean as much as it used to mean. But, it's, Rob is right. That is the first bowl game. So there's 5 bowl games the next 2 days. Texas A&M is going against number 24 Oklahoma State. Number 24 SMU is going against BC, Rutgers, Miami, and then number 18 NC State against number 25 Kansas State. That's pretty. There's been a lot of shitty matchups. And UNC was ranked, but then they shit the bed, and that was the end of them. But I thought that was, I said, Rob, that's a great little cut. I got to give you props on that. And Breece Hall is 732. So it's like, it's nothing great. Nothing great. I mean, so we talked about that. And Rob sent me the Jets trade Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos for Russell Wilson and a 6th-round pick. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. So I asked the guys, I said to him, who was Rob did idolize, but yeah, idolize. Listen, the players that you were like, wow, they were the guy. They were the growing up, and I'm talking about, you saw the progression of their career. Because Josh brought up a good point. How do you judge who's a GOAT if you really didn't see them play? You know, I mean, you see video of Ruth, I see video of Willie Mays, but I didn't really see them play. I mean, my window is basically from that I first remember the first Super Bowl I watched was 77. I watched the Cowboys beat the Broncos in the Superdome. That was the first Super Bowl I remember, like vividly. And I remember I watched Gators strike out 18 on my birthday. I remember when Len Bias passed, overdosed, and a friend, Tommy, had said, did we get another pick? He was a Celtics fan. Dr. J was a guy that I saw more. I saw him play in person more at the end of my career. I guess you could say MJ's. And I asked Josh, and he goes, Mattingly, when I was playing baseball, what do you say, Bergen City Tech? Josh, I apologize. I'm thinking off the top of my head right now when you said that. But he brought up a really good point. He goes, how can any of us judge if we're just who's really the GOAT in everybody's opinion when you really have to go by the GOAT of when you played? Because I never saw Bill Russell play. I never saw Wilt Chamberlain play. I mean, he was already done by the time. Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Bob Cousy. I could only go with what I saw. Stockton I saw play. And I saw Magic play growing up. I remember that 1980, the game that was on tape delay. But I remember watching the championship game between him and Bird. I remember the catch. So there's players I grew up with. You know, I saw Staubach at the end of his career. But I'm trying to think the ones I idolized. I tried to hit like Ricky Henderson. That's something I try to do. I did. You know, I was like trying to do like Ricky Henderson. You know, I had a bunch, but Josh, it was Mattingly. It was Mattingly. And Aaron said it was Kobe and Jeter, which I thought, okay, you know, we all saw Jeter play, and those were some great teams, and we saw him come up and everything. But, I mean, as a kid, I'm trying to think. I remember Louisiana Lightning, Guidry. I saw Jackson play, Reggie Jackson play a couple of years. Bo Jackson, we all saw, you know, his career came and went so fast. Dickerson, you know. Rob went for guys who were winners, like Brady, love Barry Sanders. Jeter, he liked guys that were winners, which, of course, we all like winners. We like all guys. And, like Sanders never was on a good team to win enough. Marino was another guy that never went to one Super Bowl, never got back again, never the teams to get there. And it takes a team to tango. But everybody says, like Charles Barkley, Shaq always says, well, you don't have any rings. Well, he also went against the best player of all time in the finals with a very good Suns team and just never got back. I mean, they had a great team that year. They didn't win it all. It happens sometimes. Sometimes nothing falls in place. There's other guys who come in the league and win championships like right off the bat, win a couple. And there's guys who go look, Bork had to go to play with the Avalanche to get a ring. I mean, guys do that at the end of their careers. They want that ring. I mean, Mailman never got a ring. The Glove never got a ring. I mean, there's guys who go through their whole career, never get a ring. Trout's never even won a goddamn playoff series. Think about that. Ohtani's never even been to the playoffs. Mattingly went to one playoff series his whole career, right? At the end, they lost to Seattle. That was it. One shot. Playoff series with the Yankees. He played in an era where they didn't do shit. I mean, that's crazy. Think about that. Never even got to play for anything. Where Winfield went to, where did he go to? Toronto? He won a ring with Toronto. I said, yes. I remember we won a ring with Toronto. So it just sometimes that's how life pans out. You get, but I thought that was, yeah. So now Rob goes, it wasn't about winners. Well, you did say it was guys who won. It was guys who only cared about doing what it took to win. Guys who didn't care as much about what? About being the spot. Yeah, dude, that's not everybody. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But Tom Brady was a winner too. Well, and Jeter was a winner too. I mean, what Jeter have? 4 rings? How many rings did Jeter have? Jeter have 4 or 5? 5, yes. 5 rings. Dude, that's a lot of rings. That's a lot of rings. I mean, I hear what you're saying in a way, but that played the right way. But some guys play the right way, some guys don't. Jair Alexander went out. He was in his hometown of Charlotte, and he made the coin toss, and he says, we'll defend. Well, it's got to be either you have to say it a certain way. You have to say defer, receive, or kick. You can't say, and they could have lost. If they would have lost the coin toss in that respect, they would have lost possession at the beginning of the game and at halftime in a game in which they won by 3 over Carolina. And then he thought it was funny. He said the guys were laughing and everything. And I was like, Jay, so he got suspended this week for conduct detrimental to the team. And these guys, and he got signed a huge contract, $84 million, got $31 million on a signing bonus. He's the highest paid defensive back, and now he's not going to play against Justin Jefferson. So they have a 7th round pick out of Kentucky who's going to get a lot of playing time for them. And that's kind of crazy, right? You're a professional. You went out for the coin toss because it was your hometown, and you made the call because, hey, I'm in my hometown and I'm going to do what I want. No. And he said the players were laughing about it. Were they? You guys are I was wondering what Ernesto thought about this. You guys are, and they said really what should happen is that they should fire the defensive coordinator, and that's what it should be instead of, going after Jair Alexander. That Matt LaFleur, is he losing control of the team? Because, that's not good. It's a silly thing in a way, but the dude goes out there and you're like, what are you doing? And then I saw Sirianni was upset because Hassan Reddick jogged over to talk to the defensive coordinator. And what is it? What was he feel like everything has to go through him in a way? And I find that kind of interesting. Sirianni seems like a kind of guy who's a little insecure, who, was given the keys to the castle, got Jalen Hurts, got the Super Bowl last year, and things are kind of falling apart, not going as well this year. And he's kind of like a little whiny little bitch. He annoys me, and I don't like guys like that. And you want to just punch him in the face, which is what I want to do a lot of times. I just find he kind of grates on you. Now, Philly fans are pains in the asses, but they're passionate about their team. They're a little crazy because the team's playing well, and they're still they're always looking for something. But, the Phillies lost in the playoffs last year, and they're acting like, how many teams would kill to get there? I know Rob would be with his Mets right now. It's been a long time. Yankees right now would like to have that team back, but I understand. You get there, and, then you have 2 shots to close out a series against Arizona at home, and he can't get it done. I'd be pissed off too. You're paying a lot of money for these players, and they all just kind of fall apart. Yeah. Play the right way. Yeah, you know what? I got to be honest with you. Play the right way. I hear what you're saying, but, play the right. Yeah, that comes across like, play the right way. Not everybody plays the right way. We'd like them to, but there's going to be, there's guys at Showboat. Neon Dion did his own thing. Primetime did his own thing. I think some guys that, they're showboaters, and if they back it up, I'm fine with it. But if you don't, you need to shut up and get off the field. And I can't stand after every goddamn turnover for the defense, they run and they go in the end zone. Like once was, I can see if it's a pick 6, but everything else, no, hell no. So they're trying to get this pile apart for Tulane versus Virginia Tech. It took them like 45,000 hours to get them up. Like, guys, move it a little bit. And so we were talking about that, and we talked about the Hall of Fame. I feel that too many guys, and all of them, that I feel you should be the best of the best. It's not good. It's great. And, we're talking about, Sheffield had a long career. Does a long career necessitate that you get in the Hall of Fame because you put up all these numbers over, say, 22 years, where he had a nice couple of years. I think Helton had a good career. Lankers, he had a better OPS, over 1,000 at home where he played in altitude, but he still had an 848 on the road. He had over 300 batting average, didn't have 3,000 hits, but was a solid player. Didn't play great in the postseason. I think it should be a whole body of work. Now, I can see if your team doesn't get to the playoffs, that's one thing. But I also feel like I want to see the whole body of work. And I feel like Sheffield, now we're just we're looking for, it should be like this. It should be like, I know Rob said to me, can you see baseball without Gary Sheffield and Todd Helton? Hell yeah. I wouldn't even think twice about it. They were good players, solid players. Sheffield was with Halle Berry, so that'll always stick with me. Todd Helton was in whole career. Was he the quarterback before Peyton Manning at Tennessee? Was a great athlete, 2-sport athlete. But other than that, it's not guys I feel like if they're not in the Hall of Fame, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Tiki, I guess we're going to have to wait till the Veterans Committee. And Rob says he has them not making it. And I talked to Jay. Jay is my baseball guy, too. No. And, Sheffield also, the cream and all that stuff. We talked about that. We all feel Pete Rose should be in. Pete Rose should be in. That's bullshit. Pete Rose, he bet on his own team to win. He didn't bet against his team. He was too much a competitor, but Rose should be in. But these guys, and if you did steroids, and Rob and I were arguing, And arguing's a strong word. We were stating our opinions to each other more about Bonds, and was Bonds a Hall of Famer before he got in, before he took the steroids. He was on the arc. He thinks Alvarez has put up numbers that Johnny Bench put up in the past. And if he keeps this up, then yeah. I mean, he's already started his career very strong. And if Alvarez puts those up, is David Wright a Hall of Famer? I think he was a good player. But if I look at David Wright, was he a Hall of Famer? I don't think so. I mean, it's not off the top of my head. I'm thinking, yeah, that's always going to look up David Wright stats. Let me look up David Wright while I'm here. And I know I'm going to get him fuming. David Wright stats. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. So he played. This is not the one I want to look at. Okay. David Wright. 7-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger. All right. 296 batting average, strong. 1,770, not even 2,000 hits, but he had injury problems. No. 242 home runs. Yeah, you know what? He 19th in the MVP. 4th 1 year, 7th 1 year, 6th 1 year. He had some solid seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 100 RBI seasons. His average always was really solid. Some 300 years. But by the end of his career, he was hurt. Yeah, not. He had a nice run. He had a really good 4-year run. 1, 2, 3, 4-year run. And then basically, then he had 21-93. And then he had 1, 2, 3. And then he really didn't play at all. I mean, last 2 years, he played a total of 75 games. But, yeah, so I don't think he's. Yeah. Chris. Hey, Chris is here. All right. McGuire should get in too. McGuire didn't even need it, Chris. Chris didn't even need the drugs. Dude, he had 49 home runs his first year. It was a beanpole. A fucking beanpole. It's the cream, dude. He didn't even need it. He didn't even need it. I know I sound like a crazy person, but good God. Yes. But let me ask you, Chris. Does the drugs take away from the career? Do you say if the guy, him, Bonds, Palmeiro, is steroids should keep him out? No? Shouldn't the steroids keep them out? Yeah. He was a one-trick pony? Dude, I don't know if I agree with you on that front. All right, let's look up Mark McGuire. Let's one-trick pony. That one trick was pretty goddamn good, dude. That was one trick that I would have loved to have on my team. All right, let's look him up. Rookie of the Year, 12-time All-Star. I don't even take that. 89 World Series, Gold Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger. 583 home runs. Less hits than David Wright, 1626. Batting average of 263. Yeah, you got a point there, dude. Led the league in home runs. Well, then the steroids hit. 4 times. He had over 100 RBIs, and he had 99, 95. So that's pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even his last 2 years, he had a total of, he still was on the cream. 16 years? Yeah, I mean, everybody says 500 home runs. It used to be 500 home runs, you're in the Hall of Fame. But, yeah. Dude, what are you talking about, Rob? Rob, what did we just talk about? His first year in the league, he had 49 home runs. 49 home runs. He wasn't taking anything then. He was a beanpole. 49 home runs. So, no, I did totally disagree with you. Totally disagree with you. And he didn't even, listen, so after he had 49, he had 32, 33, 39, 22, 42. Then he got injured 2 years in a row, 93, 94. He only played a total of 74 games. He had a total of 18 home runs, then 39, 96, 52, then 58. And then at 34 and 35, he had 135 home runs those 2 years. That's out of control. That is out of control. But I disagree. He was putting up numbers, dude. He was definitely putting up numbers. He didn't. I feel like Bonds didn't need this shit. Bonds didn't need any goddamn. Bonds was on track to have a career, but he saw everybody else take it. He was like, well, if they're going to take it, then I want to see what I can do. Yeah. That's what I wanted to look, because I haven't looked up Barry Bonds. And we could talk all day about this, but I definitely feel that there's a lot of guys that didn't need it and took it anyway. You know, we're like, always like, dude, why are you taking drugs? You know, he didn't need it. He never needed that stuff. Yeah. Internet, of course, is slow as shit. So it's okay. So Bonds, 7-time MVP. 7-time MVP. Now I know that number doesn't even seem real. 14-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glove, 2-time batting title, 12-time Silver Tugger, Silver Slugger, and 3-time MLB. So there's an MVP and then Player of the Year. So Rob had to do the research. 387, and so he was on course to have 500 home runs regardless without taking the PEDs. He didn't take the PEDs. But you know what? But Rob, this is another thing. A lot of guys said they took the PEDs too to recover quicker from injuries. And that's what I read too. That's why Pettit took it. A lot of guys took it because they were trying to recover. They weren't recovering fast enough, and they wanted to speed up the recovery process. Well, dude, he just got huge. His forearms were tremendous. He pleaded the fifth and everything. I think it would have been better if these guys, Pettit came out right away and said, hey, I took it, and admitted it. That's how you get ahead of something. Just say you did it. Who gives a shit? But to lie about it, not say anything and all this, what do they say, that Bonds' feet went up 3 sizes? I'm talking, well, really, it was went from a 10 to a 13. That doesn't happen. Your shoes don't and his head and everything. Oh my God, it's just crazy, crazy. Yeah, Bonds did not get 3,000 hits, 29-35, 762 home runs. Unbelievable. 1,996 RBIs. He had 500 stolen bases, dude. 500 stolen bases. That is crazy. That is crazy, the stats he put up. Yeah, then he put up numbers that weren't even human. 73, 46. Wow, crazy. And he only had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 100 home run seasons. But it's funny, he only led home runs once, RBIs once, games and runs once. That's what he really, based on balls, he led 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He led the league in 2004 when he had 45 home runs, 101 RBIs. He had 232 base on balls. 232 base on balls. That is astronomical, dude. That is astronomical. Bonds was no question Hall of Famer. Played before. I think you should put him in, but Mark McGwire. Well, but McGwire didn't even need it. So Chris says, I think you put him in, but Mark McGwire is but Mark McGwire. Well, McGwire, I felt it's the home runs of 583, but everything else was kind of like vanilla. Yeah, but so what? Bonds was no question Hall of Famer before PD, but before he took PDs, no one ever talked about him. He they talked about him that he was on course, the greatest ever. You don't become the greatest ever before that. It takes time for that to happen, dude. Rob, I hear what you're saying. The greatest, that's the greatest of our era. The greatest era of any. Well, listen, he has the home run record, but everybody feels it's tainted. Look at Aaron, what he did when Aaron broke. He was being held. Aaron was. It was a race. It was a racist thing. It was a white versus black kind of thing, which is disgusting in its own right. But the greatest ever. That's subjective, don't you think? The greatest of our era. I never saw Josh Gibson, who never got to really play, never played the major leagues. They said he was the greatest hitter of all time, better than even Ruth. Think about all that. Think about all the black players in the NFL that never got a chance in the NFL. They never got a chance in the NBA. They never got a chance in Major League Baseball. Imagine Satchel Paige got a career where he pitched every day in the goddamn major leagues. He would have dwarfed all those guys. All these guys' records would have been broken. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Acknowledging it as a steroid era. So what, you give them their own little Hall of Fame, in the Hall of Fame, give them their own little ward, their own little area. But yeah, I think you have to take it in as, listen, and they said everybody was taking it. Ken Griffey was no question a better player when he played the same. Was he a better player than they were different players? Listen, here's NyQuil in the flesh. Hey, Jair Alexander, your boy, really kicking ass right there. Team's falling apart there, Ernesto, falling apart. So what does he say? Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. as the greatest and they play the same era because of steroids now, I don't know. The steroid wing of the hall, I agree with that. Was Griffey is better was Griffey better without question? Different players. I mean, I think Bonds was a hell of an outfielder too. But he was a pain in the ass. He pissed everybody off in Pittsburgh and everything. So played a more important position. Aren't they all important? So you mean because he played because he played center field, dude? When he went down, his career he went to Cincinnati, and his body broke on him and everything. I don't know who you talking about, Ernesto. Are you talking about Ken Griffey Jr.? Or are you talking about, I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, insubordinate. Yes, he was. He was insubordinate. Yes, he was, your boy Jair. Yes, he was very insubordinate. He was very that is not what I want. Rob's all heated now. Rob's at work and he can't really go on. But I don't know if I agree. I think Ken Griffey Jr. was a very good player. Yeah, Bonds and I agree with Chris. They were very similar before the steroids. They both were like a 5-tool guy, could hit, run, field, all that stuff. I felt that was, agree on that front. Okay, so Ken Griffey Jr. All right, I got so 284 batting average, but MVP, third-time All-Star. I don't know does anybody know what the ML Player of the Year is as opposed to the MVP? What's the ML Player of POI? I never heard of this ML POI. I'm trying to understand what this POI is. All-Star MVP, 3-time the home run champ. So Griffey in Seattle was out of this world. I mean, out of this world. And he started off okay, and then he went to Cincinnati. Hey, and Aaron has joined us. He went to Cincinnati, and I felt, he had one good season. 1 year he had a couple 90, but he never was that same player. And then the last couple years, not even good. Then Barry juiced and became half a Griffey defensively and double Griffey. Yeah, yes, he did. Yes, he did. That is true. He dwarfed him. But Griffey, when it was in Seattle, was phenomenal. 13 years in Seattle. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable player. Just, he was that guy that did things that no one else did before. Like running down balls. And you know what the best thing is? This is the best thing. When he was a kid, they wouldn't let him play, I guess, be on the field. But I think Craig Nettles' kids were, and he was furious. And he said he'd retire before he played for the Yankees. So thank you, Yankees, for doing that. Yeah, injuries hindered him big time. But he still had some pretty good years, but not the same. Was not the same player. But I remember that. He said he would never, ever, ever play for the Yankees. Yeah, because I would have loved him. He said, I'd retire. Yeah, Griffey was a hell of a player. Yes. And Rob says he played a more important position. Center field, yes. But I think they're all important. But I think center field's a very, cover more range and whatever. I agree. But his career, wondering if he was healthy, what would have happened? Yeah. I don't know if the numbers, dude, I don't know if, I don't know. I think his body by then was so beat up by the time he got to the steroid era. And he was the guy, you know what? And what's funny? I can't really say because, listen, his dad played major leagues. Bobby Bonds played major leagues. So you would think, but Barry Bonds is an asshole. I mean, everything you see and hear about him, he was not a guy that other players liked being around. And Griffey was a guy who you still love. So Bonds is out of the spotlight and Griffey does commercials and is just this lovable guy. He's still a kid. The hat backwards and all that stuff made baseball cool and everything. Yeah, I don't disagree. And I'm kind of glad he didn't because, we always talked about that. We talked about what if Jeter was taking steroids? Like players would really upset you if they found out we're like this, did stuff and you'd be like devastated. Jeter, would have devastated me. I think Griffey would have devastated me. When you hear Bonds did it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because you wasn't that guy. But Griffey was, like Rob said, that's a good point what Rob says, that he says they played the right way. Griffey played for the love of baseball, and his body just, he was all out, relentless, and that's the way he played. He played which is what you should be playing. Like Jordan said, he didn't know who was going to watch him that night. And what else was I talking about? Pete Rose said that. He said, somebody's come to see me, and he busted his ass. He even said the All-Star game when he knocked over the catcher and, broke his collarbone. He said, that's how we played. We played to win the game. We played hard it was All-Star game. We didn't give a shit. That's not the way I played every game to win. I loved when after the end of the inning, if he had the ball at first, he'd bounce the ball, slam the ball off the turf. That's how Rose was pedal to the metal all the time, 24/7. So yeah, yes, yeah. So they do help you recover, but I guess Jeter, Griffey, his body got beat him up. Rob, that really took an effect on him, a big effect. So, it happens, dude. It happens. Yeah. So we talked about all this stuff, and I don't know, did I get to that? Yeah, we talked about that. Oh, yeah, and we talked about also all of us with Aaron and Josh and Rob wanted. So what? Lamar Jackson? What did he go? Did he go 32nd? Lamar Jackson draft. Let me see. 30 was that 30? That's the one thing I forgot to look up was Lamar Jackson. Did he go 32nd in the draft? That's what Aaron. I'm sorry, I'm not doubting you. Draft. Let me see here. All right, let me see. Where did Lamar Jackson go? I don't know what's up with the internet today, but it sucks. Yeah, Lamar Jackson. So the guys who went in front of him: Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. 32nd overall. Damn. See, you guys both at the same time. It's like we're all in unison. And Aaron brought up a great point, and so did Rob. Rob said he wanted them to trade up the Giants to get him at the top of the second round, and the Jets could have got him last year. And it is a it's a racist thing, dude. It is a racist thing. Black quarterbacks. Warren Moon had to go play in the CFL because no team was going to give him a shot at quarterback. They didn't think he was smart enough. Tony Dungy had to switch. They told Bill Polian wanted Lamar Jackson to be at the combine wanted Lamar Jackson to be at the combine as a wide receiver, a fucking wide receiver. He represented himself. His mom was he was his own agent. Everybody said all this shit about him, and the Jets could have got him. And Aaron said, I give up 2 first-round draft picks, and sometimes his accuracy is off. That's what they talk. Oh well, sometimes his accuracy, but I'll tell you, he showed you how dynamic his as Aaron said, and his athleticism is off the chain. He is amazing. Yeah, it's a running quarterback curse. No one wants him until they perform. Then it's nothing but regrets. And the black quarterback also, now they're saying, well, he's never won he's never won anything. Peyton didn't win his first playoff game until he was 27. And his career record in the playoffs is 14-13. Peyton was a great regular season quarterback. He sucked in the postseason. And I definitely feel like there's a white quarterback thing and a black quarterback thing. And listen, I grew up, I couldn't stand Notre Dame. Duke, all the school with all the white players. I loved the U. I loved UNLV. When UNLV beat Duke in that college basketball game, and I was so pissed when they lost the next. You see, I am a sports fan. So when guys ask me, who's your team? I just love sports. And I can watch any game and get into it. I can watch, and those are the things I love. And Lamar Jackson has, he finally won a playoff game, and they said, well, he hasn't won anything yet. Dude, they went in and they said, and then they belittled him, saying that it was the defense got 5 turnovers. Hey, well, I have to take advantage of I still have to score some touchdowns. And he is the guy. He's the straw that stirs the drink. Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing but regrets. Yeah, then it's nothing but regrets. Rodgers. What about Rodgers? Rodgers a running quarterback curse? Or what are you saying? Are you saying the Jets, when they got him and everything, they got him and they were all psyched to have him, and then 4 plays that he's gone? Yeah, that was what was interesting talking about him. Yeah, any team could have made it, and then they thought there was collusion against him. And then that's what they say. So then they, now, well, can they go after Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions. They go after the black quarterbacks all the time. Oh, this. But how about Brock Purdy? How about Josh Allen when he turns the ball over all the goddamn time? How about that? What they have the most black quarterbacks start last year in NFL history? Now, listen, and then they say, okay, well, they don't study as hard. Kyler Murray, it's nothing to do with a white or black thing. It's a young thing. It's a some of these young guys have a lot of talent, a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of athleticism, but you got to put the work in, man. You got to read up on tendencies. And Ernesto will tell you this. Listen, I never played football, but I know that this show is all about preparation. I just can't go winging it and be like, I got to put work in. And I know that when you're watching a football game, the things that you have to do with the line of scrimmage, with blocking and the guy and getting everybody, and then looking across the line, and you got to do this all within seconds. You got to process all that stuff. Some guys have it and some guys don't, and they're saying, it doesn't matter. Look, Zach Wilson, Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was a shitty. Listen, I know I bust with Josh and everything, and I say, he has the most playoff wins of any Jets quarterback, but he sucked. When he went to Dallas, which had a phenomenal team, he sucked. He was good with the Eagles. I remember one night game, and then by the end of the season, he was shit. I don't think Sanchez put any work in. I think he was too busy banging anything that moved, and he can talk all he wants. He's a pretty good announcer and all that stuff, but he was not a good player. Yeah. Well, hey, the only reason why RG3's career didn't take off was because he blew out his knee, and then he had to be a pocket passer, and I don't know if he put the work in. Him especially. I thought in college he was so magnetic. He was so much better than everybody else in the field. He got to the pros, and it didn't work for him. Hey, listen, another guy who got to the pros and didn't he had a good career. He had a good career, but Bush was not. I thought Bush was going to be all world. He was not all world. Yeah, high on him until, he hurt his leg his rookie year, never was the same. Cam Newton ran and thought he could run through people. That's why I think Josh Allen's going to be have the same problem. You can't think you can run through everybody all day. Eventually it catches up to you. Big Ben got the shit kicked out of him. And you can't keep taking hits like that and it doesn't catch up to you, Ernesto, right? Wouldn't you say that? I would say eventually it catches up to you. But it's nice to see Lamar Jackson and everything. So Rob says, I think some of the athletic quarterbacks have always relied on athleticism to win, and the pros to be amongst the best, you have to study. They have to rely on your everybody. So you're saying they take off too much, and I'm not saying they don't study. I just think, you know what? This is the thing. This is what's the biggest. I like the players getting paid right now. Who was Big Ben was a big guy, but he could also be, and you're eventually going to have to be in the pocket. You're eventually going to have to be in the pocket, and yes, that's something you're going to have to be in the pocket to make plays and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's eventually. But the thing I worry about with the NIL, and I'm not trying to, I think Shedeur Sanders is a phenomenal football player, but when the NIL gets me nervous in a way for these guys is too much too soon. It's like you have a kid, you give a kid a brand new car when he's 17, 18, and, they don't respect it, and, I see all these things with Shedeur Sanders, and he's at the Nuggets game, and he's wearing everything, and I worry about him, with Brady, and I hope Brady and Brady's the guy who is the torchbearer in that respect. But can talk to these guys and say, there's a lot of work you got to do to be really good at this game. And if you're interested in just your brand, yeah, I worry about that, Ernesto, another Kyler Murray, because I feel like he's a really good player, but to be the best at something, you really got to put a lot of work in. And I wonder if these guys have that work. And it's a work ethic thing. I guess when Rob was saying, do the game right, work ethic is not something it's not something you can teach someone. You got to have inside of you. You got to have that desire to be the best. And now you're playing with other professionals. You're making a lot of money. Is that enough? Or do I'd want more, now I'm playing against the best of the best. And, I love Brady was like, I don't give a shit about MVPs. I don't give a shit about Pro Bowls. I want to win the ring. Ring was winning the championship at the end. If I don't win the championship, it's nothing. The season's a failure. And that's the kind of guys I want to, I don't want the brand. I'm not worried. And that's what bothered me about Tommy Cutlets, is that I felt that he was jumping with all this stuff when he should have been focusing on football and all that stuff and not on that case. So you want to come on? You want to talk a little bit? Ernesto wants to come on. All right. Let's see if he comes on. All right, guys, if he comes on, then we're done with YouTube. And I can come back on, though. Yes. Let's see. All right. Gone for now. All right. What's up, dude?
What's going